Bank fishermen face many challenges when it comes to finding a place to fish from along the bank. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips that I have used to find places to bank fish from, the good points with them and the bad points. Now, probably one of the easiest ones is to find a pond or lake in a public park. Most counties and municipalities have these parks and lakes listed on their website. Now, since these are publicly listed, publicly accessible, and easy to find, they're probably going to get pounded by fishermen. So you're going to want to do some digging, asking around to find out just how effective of a spot these are to go fish. Most of these lakes, if they're designed to be fish, are stocked, so check with a local park ranger or somebody there with the county or municipality. They can let you know if the lakes are stocked and possibly what the schedule is. Where I live in North Carolina, the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission stocks many of these city and county lakes. And they even post a schedule of when these stockings take place. As always in the modern world, the internet can be a good source of information. Take it with a grain of salt, but as I said earlier, combine it with all the other tools you have to figure out whether a particular lake is a good place to fish or maybe a bad one. Now, spot number 2 is the good old boat ramp. It's usually got parking, there's quite a few of them, and you may even have bathroom facilities. With that said, you need to check the local laws to see if it is legal to fish around these ramps where you're at. Now, the obvious downside to fishing these areas is boat traffic. You have boats in and out of them all day long. So if you're going to fish these areas, you probably want to move as far away from the ramp as possible so you're not dealing with all the prop wash that is created by these boats. Now, something else to keep in mind so you get along with all the boaters there is that most of the courtesy docks, these are the docks that are adjacent to the ramp, are not for fishing. They are for access by the boaters that are putting boats in and taking them out. Not only is it really a bad place to fish because you're putting lines into an area that is frequented by boats, but you can also be getting in way of the boaters who are putting boats in and out of the water. And after all, that is what these ramps are designed for. Another thing to consider if you're fishing one of these ramps is try fishing at night. Generally speaking, there's less boat traffic, less commotion and things going on. And a lot of times these ramps are lit up pretty good. So I would consider fishing at night if you can, and that will avoid some of the boat traffic that is going on that may be stirring up the fish. Now, option number 3 is the good old bridge access. Basically, these areas around bridges are state and federal land, so access to them is legal in most places. Now, most places don't allow you to fish from the bridge, but the areas underneath the bridge are good places that you can get access to and go catch some fish. Now, one issue that usually arises with fishing around bridges is parking. A lot of times the areas leading up to the bridges have guardrails. Parking is limited, if not banned, so you need to come up with a plan in a lot of these areas of where to park and how to get to the bridge. The other great thing about bridges is it's a great rainy day location because, well, you got a roof over your head, so it's a great place to stay out of the weather and get some fishing time in when probably a lot of people are not out there. Now, one of the downsides is that in a lot of these situations, there's a pretty steep bank and access to the water underneath these bridges, and that is just by design of the roads and where they cross the water at with a bridge. Another positive is that the bridge itself provides shade, and a lot of times this can be a good place for fish to stage up, especially crappie, bass, and even catfish that are feeding on these fish. Now, number 4 is probably the oldest way of getting access to fish somewhere, and well, that's asking permission. Yep, sometimes going door to door, talking to people, asking, seeing if you can fish their property will work. Now, to be perfectly honest, it's tough, and the simple reason is because most of these people have given somebody access at some point, and well, the people have messed it up. either by leaving trash open, or if it's a farm pond, leaving gates open where cattle can get out. So go into it with the thing in mind that, well, there's probably a bunch of people that have messed it up for you, and it's going to be an uphill battle. The best way is to start with folks that you know and that know you. Maybe folks at church or at work that have access to a pond on their property or where they live. It's much more likely that they will allow you to fish there than they would a stranger. Now, number 5 is a controversial one, but I'm going to talk about it, and that is paid access to places that many of us call pay lakes. These are lakes that are a business that charge you a fee to go fish there. They have easy access. Most places you can drive your car right up to the bank where you're fishing at. The lakes vary in size from very large to, well, some that are nothing more than a big mud puddle somebody dug out with a tractor. These lakes come stocked with everything from trout, and this is usually in the mountain areas, to carp and catfish. Now on the surface, it appears what could be wrong with this setup? You've got easy access, it's lit up, people know you're there. What could go wrong with this? It sounds like the perfect scenario. Well, when it comes to catfish, especially trophy catfish, that's where things start to take a turn. Many of these lakes are stocked with farm-raised catfish. They're channel catfish and bullheads that are bought from a fish farm that grow catfish. Generally in these, you're paid by the pound on what fish you keep, and you can take fish home with you. But some are trophy catfish pay lakes, and that's where the sides start to be polarized. What happens in these lakes is they buy and catch fish from public waters. They use nets and traps to catch large trophy fish. They take those fish, put them into these pay lakes where people can catch them. Now, generally speaking, everything I just said is perfectly legal. In most places, these places operate above board and legally because they got a lot of eyes on them. So what's the twist? These fish die in these lakes very quickly. It would be one thing if they could stock these lakes with some large trophy catfish and they live for 8, 10, 20 years, but a lot of times these fish are dead within 2 or 3 months. This means they're back out on the public waters catching more fish, taking them to these lakes where they fish for them for a while until they die, and the process goes on and on and on. It's a business model that is great for the owners, and it's great for the people that don't have access to water and people who want to catch a big catfish. The downside is it has a negative impact, or it can have a negative impact on our public waters. So I let you know all this so that if you decide to fish one of these places, don't be surprised if there's some pushback when you very happily and eagerly go to the internet with a picture of a fish that you caught at a pay lake, because not everybody will be receptive and congratulatory in you catching that fish. Hopefully this video gives you some ideas, some things to think about, and a few different directions in where you can go to find a place to bank fish. Bank fishing is tough. I've been there, did it for the large majority of my life until I got a boat. So I know your struggle. I know the uphill battle that you're facing in trying to go find an area to bank fish, and hopefully this gives you some ideas and helps you find a place where you can get some access and catch some fish.